Black Women and American Freedom in Revolutionary America. Hidden Voices, Enduring Legacies. Hook. Imagine the American Revolution not just as a clash of redcoats and patriots, but as a crucible where the fate of thousands of black women, enslaved and free, hung in the balance. Picture women who, while denied the rights trumpeted in the Declaration of Independence, risked everything for freedom, running through the night with children in tow, penning poetry that challenged the very foundations of slavery, and standing in courtrooms to demand liberty. Their stories, often overlooked, are essential to understanding the true meaning of American freedom. 1. Setting the stage: Black Women in Colonial America. Before the first shots rang out at Lexington and Concord, black women in colonial America lived at the intersection of race, gender, and bondage. Their experiences were shaped by the legal, economic, and social structures of the colonies. Enslavement as property. Enslaved black women were legally considered property, with no rights to their own bodies, families, or labor. Their children inherited their enslaved status, ensuring the perpetuation of slavery through the maternal line. Vulnerability to violence. They endured physical, emotional, and sexual violence, with the constant threat of family separation. The plantation system, especially in the South, was underpinned by systematic brutality, labor, and exploitation. Black women worked grueling hours in fields and homes, often with children strapped to their backs, and were expected to maintain both the enslaver's household and their own families. Marginal freedom. Free black women, though not enslaved, faced severe legal restrictions, social discrimination, and the constant threat of being kidnapped and sold into slavery. Despite these hardships, black women forged strong kinship networks, preserved African cultural traditions, and found ways to resist and assert their humanity. 2. Revolutionary rhetoric: liberty's double-edged sword. The American Revolution unleashed a torrent of rhetoric about liberty, equality, and natural rights. For black women, these ideals were both a source of hope and a bitter reminder of their exclusion. Contradictions of liberty. Enslaved and free. Black women were acutely aware of the gap between the Revolution's promises and their lived realities. Many invoked the same philosophical arguments of liberty and natural rights to justify their own claims to freedom. Fugitivity as resistance. The chaos of war and the breakdown of colonial authority created unprecedented opportunities for escape. 1/3 of all fugitives during the Revolution were enslaved women, who often fled with children or relatives, making their pursuit of liberty both individual and collective. British offers of freedom. Proclamations like Lord Dunmore's in 1775 promised freedom to enslaved people who joined the British cause, prompting many women to risk everything for a chance at liberty. 3. Acts of courage: notable black women and their stories. Phyllis Wheatley, c. 1753–1784. The Poet of Liberty. Kidnapped from Africa and enslaved in Boston, Phyllis Wheatley became the first published African-American poet. Her poetry, which engaged with themes of liberty and freedom, challenged prevailing assumptions about black intellect and humanity. Wheatley's correspondence with figures like George Washington and her published works provided a powerful voice for the ideals of the Revolution, even as she lived in a society that denied her basic rights. Elizabeth Freeman, Mumbet. Legal pioneer. In 1781, Elizabeth Freeman sued for her freedom in Massachusetts, arguing that the state's new constitution's declaration that all men are born free and equal applied to her. She won, setting a precedent that contributed to the abolition of slavery in Massachusetts. Margaret, Jenny, and Bet. Stories of escape and resistance. Margaret escaped slavery twice in Baltimore, disguising herself as a man and even passing as white to evade capture. A testament to her resourcefulness and determination, Jenny ran away while 8 months pregnant, taking her 2-year-old daughter with her, likely inspired by the possibility of freedom offered by British proclamations. Bet, not to be confused with Elizabeth Freeman, escaped slavery in British-occupied Pennsylvania in 1781 with her young daughter and the assistance of 2 white men, highlighting the networks of support and the dangers involved in seeking freedom during wartime spies and informants. African-American women also played crucial roles as spies and informants, gathering intelligence for the Continental Army. Their ability to move between different social spaces, sometimes overlooked by white authorities, made them effective agents in the struggle for independence. 4. Legal battles. Black women in the courts. Black women were not passive victims. They actively used the courts to seek freedom for themselves and their children. Freedom suits. Legal petitions to courts asserting the right to freedom, often based on ancestry, prior manumission, or violations of colonial statutes. Elizabeth Freeman's case is the most famous, but many others filed similar suits, habeas corpus petitions. Black women also utilized habeas corpus petitions to challenge their detention and that of their children, demonstrating their agency in navigating a legal system designed to uphold slavery. Regional differences. Northern courts were more receptive to such suits, while Southern courts were generally hostile. Even free black women in the North faced the threat of kidnapping and re-enslavement, necessitating legal action to defend their status. These legal battles were not only personal struggles, but also had broader implications for the status of slavery and freedom in America. 5. Regional realities, North, South, and beyond. Black women's experiences varied dramatically by region. Southern colonies. The majority of black women were enslaved, working primarily in agriculture. The scale of slavery and the brutality of enforcement were particularly severe. Family separation, sexual violence, and harsh legal codes were daily realities in northern colonies. While slavery existed, the enslaved population was smaller. Some black women worked as skilled tradespeople or domestic servants, and free black communities began to form in urban centers. Gradual emancipation laws in the North led to a slow increase in the number of free black women, though discrimination persisted in middle colonies, a blend of northern and southern realities with black women working in both urban and rural settings. Quaker anti-slavery sentiment in Pennsylvania led to earlier manumissions and the growth of free black communities, Spanish and French colonies. Different legal codes sometimes offered more protections, such as the right to marry or own property. These regions had larger populations of free people of color, including women who could own property and run businesses. 6. Primary sources. Black women's voices in their own words. Despite the scarcity of written records, a wealth of primary sources illuminate black women's experiences. Phyllis Wheatley's Poetry and Letters, her 1773 book, Poems on Various Subjects, religious and moral, and her correspondence reflect her engagement with revolutionary ideals. Freedom petitions. Legal documents like Elizabeth Freeman's 1781 petition in Massachusetts are direct records of black women's voices and legal strategies. Runaway advertisements. Colonial newspapers published ads for runaway enslaved women, providing clues to their agency and resistance. Institutional collections. Digital archives such as the Digital Schomburg and 19th century collections online offer access to poetry, legal documents, and personal papers. These sources allow us to center black women's voices and challenge dominant narratives about the Revolution. 7. The aftermath. Freedom, precarity, and the long road ahead. The end of the Revolution brought both hope and hardship, opportunities for escape and family reunification. The war's chaos enabled many black women to flee bondage, sometimes with their children, and to exercise greater autonomy in safe havens. Legal ambiguity. Despite the rhetoric of liberty, the legal status of black women remained precarious. Gradual emancipation in the North led to a slow increase in free black women, but discrimination and economic marginalization persisted. Southern retrenchment. In the South, most black women remained enslaved, and the tightening of slave codes made their lives even more restricted. Contribution to abolitionism. The experiences of black women during and after the Revolution played a crucial role in the expansion of abolitionism. Their stories of resistance, escape, and legal challenges inspired others and gave new voice to the movement for freedom and equality. Legacy, Black women and the meaning of American freedom. The participation and experiences of black women during the American Revolution are essential to understanding the era's complexities, catalysts for change. Their actions challenged the ethical foundations of the new nation and contributed to the growth of abolitionist sentiment. Enduring struggle. The ideals of the Revolution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, remained largely unfulfilled for black women. Their ongoing struggle for freedom and justice laid the groundwork for future generations of activists, including those who would lead the Black Lives Matter movement centuries later. Historical memory. The stories of Black women who sought freedom during and after the Revolution are essential to understanding the ethical and racial foundations of the United States. Their experiences highlight the contradictions between American ideals and realities, a tension that continues to shape national discourse on freedom and equality. 9. Conclusion. Unfinished revolution, unbroken spirit. Black women's engagement with revolutionary ideals was marked by both hope and hardship. They seized opportunities created by the war to pursue freedom for themselves and their families, often at great personal risk. Their stories challenge us to reconsider the meaning of liberty in revolutionary America and to recognize the foundational role Black women played in the ongoing struggle for freedom. Closing hook. The American Revolution's promise of liberty was not just a matter of words on parchment. It was lived, risked, and redefined by Black women who dared to claim freedom in a world built to deny it. Their courage, resilience, and vision continue to echo in every movement for justice, reminding us that the fight for American freedom has always been and remains unfinished.